Alright, today what I'm going to share with you is how you can incorporate Firestore in your Flutter web project. I have with me here a diary entry kind of Flutter web project where you have your diary entry over here and you can add an emoji, your title and whatever you want to describe. And then if you submit, you'll go back. And then if you have a story here, you can read more and you can go back and you can either edit it, so you can update it with this button, and at the same time you can delete this where you have a pop-up that says are you sure you want to delete, and then you delete. So you have the skeleton of the project. Now you just need to add in the Firestore functionality. So if you want to follow along, you can go to the Flutter web diary under my GitHub and you can either fork it, remember to give it a star, and you can just clone it either through using Git or download zip. If you are stuck in any of the steps, there is an answer branch. So if you click on the answer branch, the full answer will be reflected in that branch. So you can try it out yourself. I've created some to-dos that you can follow along according to the numbers I have created over here. So you can pause this video and try it out yourself. And now I'm going to show you on how to incorporate the Firestore. If you were to go to the Cloud Firestore pub dev package for Flutter, it has already updated itself to implement the web version. And in order for you to download your Cloud Firestore web, simply go to the instructions here, click on it, and you will see on how you can import the package to your Flutter web project. And now you don't have to use the Firestore core package. You can just implement or download the dependency using the official Cloud Firestore package. And then at the same time, you have to copy the script tags and have the Firebase config inside your index.html. So first thing first, go to a Firebase project. If you don't have one, create one. And then after that, go to the settings here and click on project settings. And if you scroll all the way down, you could see your Firebase SDK snippet. And these are the different script tags that you have to copy. So you just click on this copy icon. Very nice animation. And if you were to go to the Firebase project that we have, go to index.html, and I have already added the script tags for you. You just have to add in the Firebase config. So you just copy and then you paste it over here and you save it. All right, let's stop this project. Next thing, we have to download our Cloud Firestore dependency. Before that, I would like to shout out to PubSpec Assist. It is a very good extension for your VS Code, because once you search a package name, then you will see the different packages that it suggests. If you go to PubSpec and you click on PubSpec Assist, and let's type in Cloud Firestore, click on the first one, and it adds our Cloud Firestore with the latest update, and you save it. Alright, so we have our Cloud Firestore inside our Flutter web project. So the first thing that we need to do is to create an add method to the add diary entry to Firestore when diary action is add. Okay, what this means is that if you click on to do one and if you run it again, make sure when you download any dependency, switch off your debug mode, because Flutter web is unable to download the dependency on the fly. Hopefully the Flutter team or Flutter community will update it so that once we download a dependency in debug mode, it will update by itself. So first thing that we need to do is to add a diary entry. If you were to go to our to-do, so in to-do, the first one, create an add method to add a diary entry using Firestore when diary action is add. So let's click on this first, and this will redirect you to the diary entry button file. So this diary entry button file, it's over here. Now we need to create a method to add our diary entry. So inside the diary entry button, you have the title controller, the body text controller, and the emoji string. And you have the widget that is from the diary entry page. So if you were to go to the diary entry page, the different actions, whether you want to edit, add, or read. And if you scroll all the way down, you have the floating action button, which is under diary entry button. So inside the widget, we can take in the diary entry model over here. So if you click on diary entry model, you could see that it is a class that have the different types of properties. So you have the emoji, title, and body. So a diary entry like this itself has an emoji, title, and a body. So if you go back, let's create a add method. So first thing first, let's type in Firestore dot, and let's import the Firestore package and type in instance dot collection. So inside our Firebase database, make sure you have created a database inside your Firebase. We are going to create a collection called diaries. So let's type in diaries dot add, and now it requires a map string to be passed inside this method. So if we were to go back to entry model, let's create a function called toMap. However, I'm going to use this extension called .data class generator. So what it does is that once you have a simple class, you can create a data class that will help you with the required methods, getters, and setters that you usually need. So I would recommend you to download this extension. Alright, so what you need to do is you need to delete the constructor, and then it will shout an error. So this allows us to generate a data class, and it will generate all the different methods that we usually need. So let's delete the JSON, because for now we don't need the JSON, and we can delete the copy with, because we want this data model to be immutable. Alright, so these are the required functions that we need: a toMap method and a fromMap method. So the toMap allows us to have our class to be converted into a map string dynamic, usually to pass in for our Firestore methods. So we save this. Now let's go back here to the diary entry button. Next thing is that we need to create an instance of a diary entry. So we can type in final data, and let's create a diary entry. Okay, and let's import it from our package. Okay, next thing is that we are going to pass the different properties that we passed inside our diary entry button. So first thing is that we want to have our emoji. So let's do that, emoji. Second is that we're going to use the title, and let's type in the title controller.text. And lastly, we have the body text controller. So we have a body property. Let's type in body text controller.text. Now, if we put the semicolon over here, it says diary entry can't be assigned. So what we need to do is to have the .toMap method. And now this will return a map string that the add method of Firestore requires. So let's save this. Okay, so now let's test whether our add method works. So you can go back. If you want to go back and from, do not use this back button, because this will freeze the app. Let's create a happy emoji. Finally, a Firestore CRUD tutorial. And then what we can do is, if we go back and let's go to our main.dot, and we can copy this diary entry at the bottom. So let's copy and let's paste it over here. Alright, so it looks like a diary entry. Okay, so if we were to submit this, alright, so our added diary entry is not added here. Let's see whether inside our Firebase it is added. Okay, so let's refresh it. Now you can see that we have our diaries over here, and we have our body, we have emoji and title. Great. So our Firestore add method works. Alright, let's see what's the next step. So we can delete this to do. Congratulations, we are left with 1, 2, 3, 4 more to-dos. Alright, so the second step is to create a diary stream to return list of diary entries instance. So if we click on this, so currently we are having a dummy data that passes through these diary entries, which is a list of diary entry through provider. So what we need to do is we need to create a diary stream that returns a list of diary entry into the provider. So first thing first, we need to create a stream. So let's delete this. Let's type in final diary entries. Okay. And next is we are going to use Firestore dot instance dot. Okay, and let's add in our Cloud Firestore, type in collection, and we have our diaries. Next, we are going to get this thing called snapshots. So snapshots are a stream of query snapshot that just returns us all the diaries that we have called. The next thing that we need to do is we need to change this, because currently the return type is a stream query snapshot, but this returns a list of diary entry. So we are passing through a stream. So we just need to have the stream provider. However, the type is different. Instead of a stream query snapshot, we need a list of diary entry. We can type in map, and this will return us the different snapshot. And let's make this into a block body so it's easier for us. And let's type in snapshot dot documents dot map again, and let's have the E into a doc. And currently we have doc dot data. So we will have a stream that is a list of a map string dynamic. So how do we change this map string dynamic into a list of diary entry? So there's this method in diary entry called from map, and this returns us a diary entry. So what we can do is we can encapsulate this and type in diary entry dot from map. All right. So now it returns us a stream of list of diary entry. Okay, so let's save this. All right, let's see what happens. Okay, there's an error. Expected a stream list diary entry, but got one type of map stream iterable. So currently our diary entries are returning an iterable, but we need a list. So we need to type in here .to list. And let's save this. Let's clear this console. Great. So now we have called our diary entry, finally a Firestore CRUD, and we can read exactly what we have added. Alright, so you're done. You have shown the list of diaries that we have. So let's delete these to-dos. Congratulations, now you're left with 3 more. Wait, the to-do, change to stream provider. We have done that too. So now we are left with 2 more. So the next to do is to create an update method to edit diary entry to Firestore when diary action edit with doc ID. Alright, so that means we just need to create an update method when diary action is edit. If you go back to the diary entry button and if we click on the diary action, there is 3 actions: edit, add, and read. When the widget diary action is on edit, then we will update it. So let's use this isAdd action boolean to make sure that this Firestore instance add method only be called during the add action. What I mean by that is that if you were to go to the edit, click on edit, and maybe you change something and you click update, it actually adds, because our diary entry button is found inside the edit page, has this function. So we will make use of this isAdd action. Alright, so let's do a simple if statement, isAdd action, and let's encapsulate it and insert our Firestore instance over there. Alright, so now instead of us adding when we click on the update, it will do nothing. Alright, so the next thing is that we need to create an update method. So let's say else, let's assume that there's only 2 actions that's passed down during the diary entry button. Why? Because if you were to click on the read more, there is no floating action button that is shown inside our app. So let's update. So firestore.instance.collection, we have diaries, and for updating a Firestore document, you have to use a specific document in order for you to update the data. So currently the data is there, but we don't have the document ID. So same thing, we have to do the .to map. So since we have 2.to map, what we can do is that we can type in here .to map, and then we can delete this whole sentence. Now it looks cleaner. Right, so how do we get the document ID? So what we can do is we can go to the diary entry and create another method called from document, because the only way that we can get a document ID is from a document snapshot. Alright, so what we can copy. So instead of creating another method, let's use it as from doc, and let's change the type to document snapshot. And then we can import the library, and let's change from map to doc. So it makes sense. And let's add in another property called document ID. So we just add in manually. So type in this dot document ID, comma. Alright, so to map, we don't require a document ID because it will be created once we pass it inside Firestore, and it will create the document ID for us. However, inside from doc, we need the document ID. Instead of doc, let's change all of this into doc.data. Alright, because data is the one that's returning us the map string dynamic. Next is, let's put the document ID and doc.document ID. Alright, then there's an error. So from map isn't defined inside diary entry. So let's type in from doc. And instead of having the data, delete this and this will run. Lastly, from the diary entry button, we can make use of the diary entry that has been passed down through the widget. So what we can do is we can type in final document ID is equal to widget dot diary entry dot document ID. And then let's add in here. So if we save everything, alright, to see whether it works, we can click on the edit on the first one. Alright, so let's have something else. There is so much errors, and let's have a angry face. Alright, let's click update and let's see if it's updated. Alright, so it has updated, and that means we can finish this to do. Alright, so let's save this, and we have one more to do, which is to create a delete method with a document ID. If we were to click on the to do, then it will open up this pop-up menu dot. So this means this pop-up menu that we have over here. So this delete. Okay, so inside here we have a switch statement to check the action that we pass through, whether it's delete or edit. Now we're going to add our delete method. So we type in firestore.instance, and let's import that dot collection, and same thing, diaries dot document. Now we need a document for it to be deleted. So how do we get the document ID from the pop-up menu? So as you can see here, there's these parameters that we added called diary entry. So we can make use of the diary entry instance. So let's type in diary entry dot document ID. Alright, let's save this. Okay, so let's check whether this works. So there's so much errors, and if we delete this, you could see that our Firestore, our diary entry deleted itself without us actually pressing this delete. So the show delete dialog has this on delete function. So that means we need to put our delete method inside our on delete function. So let's move it down here and let's save this. So let's add a diary. How about a sad face? Don't delete me. I am begging you. Alright, so let's submit. So there's an error. Invalid member or null document ID. Okay, so let's solve this. So let's click on the first one. Alright, so when we add something, our diary entry document ID is null. So the only time that we get our document ID is that when we update. So let's move this down into our update. At the same time, let's make it more readable so we can continue this. And let's try widget.action. It's equal to diary action dot edit. Okay, so when we have an action that is edit, then we will get the document ID from the diary entry, and then we will update it accordingly. So let's save this. Okay, it's updated. Let's submit. Let's retry again. Set. Alright, so let's click submit, and there you have this. So it works, but we want to delete. So let's click on this delete. Are you sure you want to delete? If we don't delete anything, nothing happens. If we delete, click on this delete, our diary entry has been deleted. Alright, so if we were to go back to the pop-up menu, I think we have finished our last to-do. So in summary, what you have done is that you have implemented an add function, an edit function. So let's edit, let's update, and a delete function. Alright, so that's it. You can refactor this project. You can do many stuff with this project. So like and subscribe and comment down below if you want a tutorial on how to make this web app mobile responsive. Alright, okay, so there is still some bugs with Flutter web, but it's okay. It's getting there. That's it. Bye bye.